the comedian Godfrey and Lord Jamar. Those are two of Vlad's biggest, guests, if you will. Like, they come back multiple times throughout the year, and they both decided to start a campaign to blackball him, and based off him misquoting a comment that Minister Farrakhan made and not wanting to apologize. Like, Vlad basically was like, the only way I'll apologize is if I can, and I'm paraphrasing here, I can get clout off of it by interviewing him. I won't apologize because at the end of the day, it's about me getting my numbers. So there's a movement now that started to try to quote unquote cancel Vlad. But here's my question to you guys. And it's two parts, but we can go back around on, either or. But Lone, I'll come to you first. With this movement, what took so long? We've talked about Vlad being a culture vulture in the culture for years. Like, what took so long on this when it's two parts for you? And do you think it'll last? I'm coming to you first, Lone.
So who are the main people that started boycotting him?
Lord Jamar and Godfrey. Yep.
I don't know Godfrey, but Lord Jamar was profiting off of DJ Vlad. That's why. He's a hypocrite.
I hadn't heard anybody say that one. Okay.
Bada boom, bada bing.
Okay.
If you want to know the realness of it, that would be my assessment, though. Because
I see what you snuck in with that Lord Jamar, though. That's a good curveball there.
Lord Jamar was on the show all the time, and that was Vlad's credibility, and then now that was away, and now Nore's. Then again, I don't really watch Vlad at all. I don't know who Godfrey is.
Hilarious. You know Godfrey if you've seen.
You know Godfrey.
Probably. It's just like it's kind of like what Brad always said, man. It's like trash hip hop news, man. It's like sometimes it's cool to pay attention to. But that's all I have to say about that.
Spoolz, talk to me about Nore wanting this stuff pulled down, man. Is this going to last? And you have any thoughts on why it took so long?
No, I mean, people have been saying stuff about how Vlad's a cop and a culture vulture and all this shit for a while. I don't know if you can actually. I think you have to sign releases, so I don't like for that shit, like to the content. So I don't know if he has to pull it down or not, but he might. I guess so. I read more into this. So he had said what he had said. He had misquoted or reacted off something he had misunderstood that Minister Farrakhan had said.
Yep. And
he had talked to Lord Jamar about it. And Lord Jamar, this is based on what Lord Jamar was saying, not putting words in his mouth, just kind of high level paraphrasing, basically said it would behoove you to apologize. And so instead of apologizing, Vlad took that part of the discussion out of that segment. So it wasn't in there anymore. The part where he had reacted to that or whatever. And Lord Jamar was like, "That's cool." He was like, "But you're gonna want to apologize." And that's when Vlad told him, "Yeah, I would only apologize if I, was able to sit in front of him and actually meet him and talk to him or whatever." And which would never happen. I don't. And
that's clout chasing. So, like he knows.
Oh, for sure.
That's clout chasing.
Absolutely. So Vlad to me has always been kind of interesting. Like, I think DJ Academics is definitely like worse for hip hop.
I'd agree.
I'm in on that.
Vlad's a vulture, I guess, to an extent. I don't know. I mean, as far as this thing is concerned, yes, Minister Farrakhan means a lot to a lot of people. If you misquoted him like that, you should apologize, I think. However, I understand there's I believe Vlad is Jewish, and obviously Minister Farrakhan's Muslim or Nation of Islam, and I believe Farrakhan has had some choice words to say about, or at least that's the rap. I don't know if that's true or not. I can't say, so because I haven't heard any of that, but I don't know, man. Like, why is it taking so long? I don't know. I mean, people always go on his show. He doesn't just even interview hip hop cats. He'll interview some rapper you've never heard of that's up and coming. Then he'll interview somebody that you've heard of for a really, really long time, and then he'll interview an actor or a comedian or someone else. And his interviews I would give them like a C, like his style in general. Like, Vlad always has to tell people, "Oh yeah, I know him." I hate that shit. Oh, I know so and so. You know, I interviewed so and so. Yeah, I know so and so. I mean, every fucking interview, man, just gets
talked last week. I know his mama. Like corny shit like that.
Stupid. But I don't know, man. That's my 2 cents, I guess. I mean, I don't really know why it's taken so long, and I think he got some unwarranted bullshit back in the day. I can understand why people would be pissed off when you're kind of goading young people, especially young black males, into like incriminating themselves. But no one's ever been convicted off of anything they said on Vlad TV, I don't believe, except for maybe 𝗀𝗡𝗡. I could be wrong even about him, but he had interviews with other people where he was saying people's names and talking all this other shit. So
I would say it hasn't been confirmed, but my only rebuttal to that would be who knows what influences or what people use.
You're right.
You know where I'm going.
I don't know.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
I feel where you're coming from. But I don't know.
But I mean, if you're gonna start calling someone that, you got to kind of check your own credibility. You know what I mean?
True.
based on something like that. But
True.
But anyway, just to wrap it up, the incident with Minister Farrakhan, I think an apology just would have been, a genuine one. But obviously, he didn't genuinely feel that way. So he's gonna get whatever comes to him. So yeah.
Yeah, and the fact that he doubled down and was like, "Nah, if I don't get the interview, I'm leaving it up," and that's just because he knows at the end of the day, it's not about the morals of apologizing to Minister Farrakhan. It's about the fact that I need the views in the clout. Who gives a fuck about apologizing? That's the corny part about it. That's the vulture part about it to me. And more, how do you feel about this? And then Terry, I come to you to bring it home.
Well, I tell people this all the time. You cannot cancel what a lot of times you did not create.
Okay.
True. And the thing with DJ Vlad, I still enjoy, like, it sounds, of all things, like he's got because I'm a boxing fan, especially of that 80s era, and he's interviewing Larry Holmes right now. And Larry Holmes is literally is like that connection, that middle part where, he beat Ali and then was beat by Mike Tyson.
True.
And so when you look at his numbers, I mean, for all this, Vlad is canceled, this, that, and the third. Vlad is not canceled. Vlad is almost a stop. Like, okay, during when you got a rollout happening, you got to go ahead and like, there are people who are going to stop and talk to him who have no idea who Lord Jamar or Godfrey are. I mean, and that's not to belittle them, because I enjoy Godfrey as a comedian.
Yes.
And I enjoy Lord Jamar, for what he's contributed to hip hop with Brand Nubian and him putting on Dead Prez and, and his podcast. But, if Vlad was a culture vulture, he was a culture vulture while you all have been doing interviews with him for the last 5-6 years. Like,
for sure.
Don't call him out now, because the thing is, it's not, people say, oh, well, he only wanted to do it so he could interview Farrakhan. Well, he's introduced, he's sat down with brother Wesley Muhammad. He sat with Nuri Muhammad. He sat down. He uses the fruit of Islam as his security, as he's said on many times. And if you know anything about how the Nation of Islam moves, if anything, Vlad knows that if he's going to have his apology accepted, he doesn't need to apologize to Lord Jamar and Godfrey. He needs to apologize to the Minister Louis Farrakhan. So, I mean, I think it's layered.
Why can't you do that without the clout part? Just release a statement and say,
the thing is, I think if he really wants to do it right, then he needs to say to Minister Farrakhan, "I'm sorry, I misinterpreted your words." Because the thing is, whether he gets a Louis Farrakhan interview or not, Vlad's numbers are just fine. Like, and the thing is, when he sits down and interviews members of the Nation of Islam, these aren't his highest viewed interviews. When he sits down and talk to somebody like Sada Baby, who, like I said, I'm just now learning about, those are the numbers. Those are the things that do numbers. Him sitting down and talking to these figures who want to talk about empowering Black people and where Black people should be, and stop smoking weed and doing this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
And enlightening yourself, from the Muslim perspective. These aren't his highest. These aren't the ones doing numbers, putting money in his pocket. So I mean, I don't see it as a clout chasing move, because it would be something to be. It would be impressive if he got Louis Farrakhan on, but that would probably be a Boosie interview would do bigger numbers than Louis Farrakhan. I know that's messed up to say, but it's what it is.
That's actually a big.
So when people say clout chasing, I don't see it as that, because like the number, like when I look at the numbers and you do the analytics of it, the numbers, all you got to do is sit down with Boosie, and that's 2 or 3 interviews with, I enjoyed Nuri Muhammad. Shout out to him, because he represents Indianapolis, but Nuri Muhammad didn't do anywhere near a Boosie interview.
Hold that thought.
Boosie interviews are damn near mandatory viewing, so I don't even think it really counts as clout.
Hold that thought, Jay. I want to hear Terry. I want to hear from Terry first.
Doing just fine. Okay. So you can't. Once again, you can't cancel what you didn't create.
Terry, jump in, and I'll come back to you, Long. I don't want you to lose your train of thought.
I mean, I'm not going to speak a whole lot on it. I think everybody pretty much summed it up around the table. But as far as Vlad is concerned, I've never been somebody that listens to Vlad or watches Vlad interviews or anything like that. So when it comes to canceling Vlad, I could care less, because I never supported him in the first place. It sounds good on paper. Godfrey's a dope comedian. Lord Jamar is Lord Jamar. We already know that, but those two kind of spearheading the cancel party for Vlad is like y'all touched on, is should have been done a long time ago. He is who he is, and has always been who he is, and he's a whack individual in my point of view, and that's all I have to say about it.
Long, did you lose your train of thought? I'm sorry. Did you feel like you had a bar coming?
I was just gonna kind of speak on what Jay Moore was talking about with the clout, because there's different levels of clout that a white person in hip hop may chase, and you're gonna get a different level of clout if you chase a Boosie versus if you chase a Minister Farrakhan, depending on what people are going to look at you and what people are going to pay attention for. And so I think that's still. I don't know. I feel like there's that's really all I was going to say about that. I feel like there's I don't have the words for it.
Nicole made a good point. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, it's it doesn't matter. So.
Nicole made a good point. She says, I wonder what the demographic is of the viewers. And we talked about, Jay Moore made a good point. He talked about the Boosie interviews, and when he has Webby on, or he has who else? Somebody told me Crunchy Black must have been on there cutting up and acting a fool. He was on there, like, we talked about the actors and the Larry Holmes and all of those, but the goofy shit is what drives it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type, to me, that's the type of shit, the cop shit and the goofy shit, the clowning is what drives him. Like if you scroll on a DJ Vlad face, and I've always thought about this, if you scroll on a DJ Vlad page and scroll down, you never see, like, it's rare that you see like a white face. It's always black people. It's black artists, black.
No, I can't say that, because he interviews all these white gangsters, and then he'll interview like the people who do real estate, and then he'll interview like right now he's interviewing of all Dr. Dre from Yo MTV Raps. Dr. Dre.
What would you say? What would you say the percentage is on the? What would you say the percentage would be on the scrolls if we had a pie
80,
chart?
20,
I mean, it's not.
I'd say 95%.
Not. But when you're, let's just be real. You're talking about hip hop, like. What's the percentage of white people that we talk about?
All right, so
when we're a hip hop podcast.
What are you getting at, Mike? Point being.
What I'm getting at is if you think about it, like, so Has Logic been on there?
Yes.
Oh, Logic was on there. Okay, I see.
Yes,
I don't follow him like that, so I don't know. So Logic was on there.
Logic technically ain't white.
Vlad does
true.
have to Jay Morse. He has gangsters on. I mean, there's a Sean Branch interview that's done a lot of numbers from what I've seen. You know what I mean?
I learned something then. Okay,
man, it don't matter who Vlad interviews.
He's a black
to
dude.
Me, his style is just whack. His style is whack, and is definitely on some. If the feds was coming for you, all they gotta do is watch some Vlad shit, and if you're not smart enough to do an interview correctly,
and then watch how Pee Wee Longway answered his questions like that.
I was about to ask you, Spoolz. That's
all you need to do.
Let me ask you this:
he does goat people into maybe people who aren't as. I mean, I don't think it has to do with being smart or whatever, but just like that are maybe more easily influenced, like because of the stage they're on, to say certain things. Yeah, I can see that he does do that.
Spoolz, let me ask you this.
Well, your dumbass, he can only put he can only put whatever it is that you said, that's what he's going, like, it's like when people will get mad when they look bad on these reality shows and they'll say, oh no, they edited to look that way. No, that's what you did. I only have
kind of like how Fleece Johnson said that they edited to make him look like he was a
it's unless you're
bro, that was what you said.
These are all grown men, and you said these things and I only feel so sorry for them. And like the thing is, like, I remember when he had the baby on early in his career, and he was getting ready to talk about something, and I remember Vlad saying, like, is that an open case? And he's like, yeah. He's like, okay, we're not going to talk about that. Like, so if you're dumb enough to, like, he'll stop you if you're talking about an open case.
No,
if
we can talk about it.
Yeah,
like, that's your fault. Yeah.
Spoolz,
that's
what I was going to ask you, Spoolz, is like the accountability standpoint. Jay Moore, that's a good point. That's what I was going to ask you. Like, where's your?
I think Jay put it well. I can only feel so sorry.
Okay.
Kind of what Jay just said. I can only feel so sorry for these cats. That's it.
Okay.
All
right. That's a good point. That's a good way to look at it, because you can either choose to deny or say next question, or
there's nothing gangster about telling some fucking dude on an internet show all the grimy shit you've done, man.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point.
I'm sorry that some little, not ringtone rapper. There's no such thing as ringtone rapper, but you got a couple singles out and you're saying, yeah, Vlad did me wrong. But like, you sit down and talk to Mob James and my man from the East Siders, like, and these people are on there giving it up. But, you think Vlad is the feds. I'm like, I don't, these are grown men. I only feel so sorry for grown men who do goofy shit. And when people try to give them the game. You know what I'm saying?
Dude,
like
Mob James and Trey D and none of those dudes are getting caught up in anything because they're not talking
how
about
you talking about Vlad did me wrong, but like he not gang, but he sits down with Trey D 3 times a year. Get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like
okay.
And like I said, like I said, if Vlad is a culture vulture now, Lord Jamar and Godfrey, he was a culture vulture when he was helping you get your name out there so you get your ticket sales up when you were doing your comedy shows. He was a culture vulture. There are people who will get on and say, yo, I did an interview with Vlad and now I'm booking shit. So like he was a culture vulture when he was helping you out starting your podcast. Like, so it's like, if you got a problem with him, cool, I get it. If you think he should apologize, have a disagreement, but like, once again, you just can't you can't cancel what you didn't create. And if you think you've canceled Vlad, I'm sorry. Look at his numbers. Look at his subscriptions. Look at the views. He puts up people I have never heard of. Yeah. And that shit would have 150,000 views.
That's a fact.
If you've enjoyed this segment of the New Old Heads podcast, make sure to join our live show every Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern at twitch.tv/bringingdowntheband and join our private Discord community with talks on hip hop, music, news, and everything else.